Welcome back, everybody. Come in and take a seat, and welcome to the club. My name is King Jess. He's Hoodie Julio.
What's up, everybody?
That's my dog Boyle.
What's up?
And together we make the Cinema Culture Club. I'm excited to get into this week's topics, boys, so let's kick it off with This Week On. This Week On is a segment of the show where the boys yap about what they've been up to since the last episode. Personally, I've been vibing. I've been watching a lot of shows, catching up with a lot of season 2s because there's a lot of season 2s coming out. Gaming wise, I got an Arkham series run going on the Switch 2. Almost done with the Silent. I'm really looking forward to playing City because I don't really remember that one as well. As a group, we've been running some Peak and some Marvel Rivals, but really that's about it for me.
Not much going on this side of things. School just started for the people that got to deal with that stuff.
Oh,
So
nice.
been dealing with working out schedules. Who's gonna drop off, who's gonna pick up. TV wise, I'm a little all over the place. You'd be surprised, but the new season of King of the Hill made me want to go back and rewatch all the old seasons. So I've been throwing those on and having them on in the background while I do stuff. Stuff around the house and everything.
Oh yeah.
Gaming wise, I've been there for the peak sessions, and actually gaming wise, I am getting ready for spooky season coming up. I'm trying to see what games I have that I can play, for spooky season. Always keeping my eyes open on what's available for free, downloading it, and I might even run streams again. Who knows? We'll see.
Hell yeah.
Be on the lookout for that if I decide to start streaming my gameplay again. And yeah, that's about it for me for what I've been up to.
Nice. Yeah, for me, like what Jesse said, there's a lot of season 2s out right now, so I just been catching up on that. Like the new season of Rick and Morty's out. I've been catching up on that one. And Peacemaker season 2 that just started. Been watching that. And college football just started too. I've been watching that. Me and the boys did our fantasy draft for football last week, so I'm pretty excited about my team. I'm happy with it.
Nice.
And week 1 for NFL's next week, so can't wait for that.
You think you got a chance at
That's
winning?
about it for me. I think I do. Yeah, for sure. There's 10 of us out of a 10-man league. I think I got a solid team. And it's Labor Day weekend, so we started early. The fam is doing a little barbecue, a little carne asada outside. So if it gets a little noisy, I'm sorry. I already told them that we're live, so we should be good. But yeah, that's about it for me.
We will be there. I actually missed the fantasy draft last Saturday. Like I already knew I couldn't make it to the live draft based on what time it was set.
Yeah.
But we had keepers, right? And I kept some keepers, and I thought that'd be good enough, and I thought I might survive with what auto draft gave me.
Yeah.
Severe overestimation. I'm already behind, and we haven't even started. So your boy's
Yeah,
definitely gonna
there.
be active on the wire because I gotta catch up, man. I can still win this league, and I have 2 more drafts on Monday, so let's
Nice.
do it.
Yeah, no, the chat in our league is just a bunch of trade offers right now. So looks like a lot of people in ours aren't happy either. But we'll see.
I mean,
excited.
both of you guys are actually fantasy football league champions in your own respect. Because, Boyo, you were telling me you won last year's, and I know Julio, you won a couple years ago. So both of you guys are kind of champions.
Yeah,
we got a couple champion football league players here.
I've won a few times in a few different fantasy football leagues, and I've won in fantasy basketball also. So
yeah, fantasy basketball is tough.
It's tough. It's every day.
Yeah,
I don't have it in me no more.
Yeah, that's doing too much. I'll stick to football.
Let's keep it moving and get into the next segment, Reel It Back. Reel It Back, if you remember, is the part of the show where the club reviews movies they've recently viewed, new or old. This week, the club reviews Weapons and War of the Worlds 2025, regrettably. So, boys, let's kick it off with Weapons.
This is a true story.
Monday will mark 30 days since 17 grade school children have disappeared.
Those kids walked out of those homes. No one forced them.
7, 6, 11, 5.
And let's each give a small spoiler for review of the film for those who haven't watched it. I'll go first. Weapons brings eerie horror to the cinema in a grand way. Not only does Weapons play with your fear of superstition, but it also takes the fear of kids in film and haunts the audience in a new way I've never seen. I very much enjoyed Weapons, and this movie is getting a 5 out of 5 reels from me.
5 out of 5. Wow. That's very high praise coming from no, seriously, probably from the toughest movie critic I know. That's very high praise. Um, Weapons for me, for me, Weapons is what I believe to be the next and necessary step in horror. And what I mean by that is that I don't think Weapons is purely a horror film. If anything, I would call it more suspense and mystery than horror. You know,
True.
it's very horror centric. It even has moments of comedy where I laughed, and I don't know if I was meant to laugh or not, but I laughed. Right? Some of
Mhm.
them you could tell that you were meant to laugh, and others I wasn't sure. But I think this is necessary for horror. You know, for a genre where everything's pretty much done, and leading the way is, you know, Zach Kreger. You know, who would ever knew that the whitest kid I knew was going to turn out to be the king of horror? I didn't. But Weapons is really good. What Weapons makes you feel uncomfortable, but like, you know, you going into it, you should know that you're gonna feel uncomfortable, but that's the point of this movie. You know, so that's like I went specifically for that, and it delivered that. And honestly, it makes me want to LoJack my own daughter. I'm not gonna do it. Not gonna do it, but it makes a good argument for getting your kids LoJacked. But for me, there are just a few little details that, for me, knocked it back a little, and I will break down what maybe would have made it a 5 out of 5 for me. But this critic is going 4.5 reels.
Well,
Very
that's
good
not
stuff.
bad.
Very
All
good.
right.
Yeah, 4.5. That's the same. I gave it a 4.5.
Okay.
It was good. I liked it. I enjoyed it. Um, I've only seen Zach Kreger's last movie, Barbarian.
Barbarian. Okay.
But yeah, it was kind of the same. Those are both good movies, and yeah, like the like horror aspect of it was good. It's like really up there. I think you said Julio that like it's gonna like change like horror and stuff. And yeah, like it is kind of like it's kind of like it like in his own little horror genre. Like there's not really movies like that. Like the only two like other like horror directors right now that I could think of are Jordan Peele and what's the guy's name that did Hereditary and uh Midsummer? Ari Aster.
Ari Aster.
Yeah, those are two
Yeah.
like other horror directors that I like if I see their movies on like if I see like their name on the credit for the movie, then like I'm gonna watch it for sure.
Okay.
Yeah, but yeah, this movie was good. It actually reminded me of Zodiac. I don't know if you guys have seen that movie.
Oh, I have a long time ago, but I have.
It's
Yeah,
been a while too, so I would have to give
the
it a
intro
rewatch.
especially.
Yeah.
Yeah, the intro especially is what could because that movie Zodiac it kind of opens in like a with like a song that you wouldn't expect. You know, it's kind of like a slow song, and then like it moves into like a really rock song. You know, like it doesn't really give horror vibes, and that's like what the intro to this movie gave me to it. Like it like felt weird, it felt creepy with like the song choice that they chose. It like reminded me of the Zodiac movie a lot.
And that's something I would say that with those three directors has been a prominent point, right? They've been trying to get away from the horror aspect that's just cheap horror, you know, like jump scares or just in your face kind of like horror tropes. And we saw this with Barbarian from Zach, you know, we saw him lead us falsely into a narrative in that movie and completely switch it up on us towards the end. And I feel like that's something that happened here. You know, you think the whole movie you kind of you're figuring out what really is happening, but it isn't towards maybe the last 2-3 chapters of this movie that you really figure out what's happening or what's going on within the town. And it's probably nowhere near what you probably thought was happening, you know, originally. So I think Zach's really good at doing that and making you afraid and the non-traditional ways that normal directors would, you know.
What I think it is too is just that if it was just pure horror, like if you're just making a movie and your only elements are horror, that just doesn't work anymore. I feel like we've seen it all. You know, it's all been done. And so now the best way to make a horror movie is to just make it a slice of your pie. Doesn't even have to be the biggest slice, but the horror has to be the driving factor. I'm noticing that. I'm noticing that the best horror movies now are only like 20% horror, 25. They're however much it may be, but the horror has to be what's driving the movie. That's like the next step here. That's what I think. And now horror is about stuff that can realistically happen to you and would scare the living daylights out of you, whatever it may be.
100%. And that's something, like I said, that's something that Zach did perfectly with this, is playing with your fear of anything to do with kids. You know, this really touched people that have kids, you know, people that are parents, but also kind of, you can relate to it as like a brother. You know, if this happened to one of your siblings or one of your kids, you wouldn't know what to do. You know, exactly like the people acted in this town, you wouldn't know what to do, where to go from there. You know, your kid's just up and left at 217 and with no explanation. So I think he does a good way at using kids as as like this fear, this outside fear. And you don't even get to see the kids as much in this movie, but you knowing that they're gone, knowing that they're somewhere, that fear is just prevalent through the whole movie. Now though, for the spoiler section, if you don't want anything spoiled, now's the time to skip ahead. This movie was broken into chapters, so let's go through them. The first one was the intro. I loved the intro. This was another movie just like Superman, where like the intro just won me over. You know, seeing the kids leave their houses at 217 with the narration of the girl beforehand explaining what happened, all to George Harrison's music, felt almost freeing and wonder-like, and that would change later on in the movie as we got to see that same run in different perspectives, and it would just get creepier and creepier. How did y'all like the intro though? Did it set the tone, or did it give way too much away for you guys?
So I do believe the intro set the tone, right? But for me, in my eyes, and this is just for me, it did something in movies that I tend to not be a fan of, just because it never gets done right. It does get done right here, but the fact that every time it happens, I always start off with a negative view of it, and then it ends up being good. But narration, I'm not the biggest fan of narration in movies, like audio narration, right?
Mm-hmm.
This one, thought the little girl did a great job. They added some sort of like semi echo to the voice while she's telling the story, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now, one thing that got to me though is that we never find out who this little girl is. She's never in the movie. She's never at the end of the movie. This is just a citizen from the town, I'm guessing. But so that for me also further docked it at the end. But I thought her story was good, creepy, chilling. Music was on point, and didn't spend too much time on it. So yeah, while the intro was good, the fact that it was narration that ended up being good, that was the beginning of docking it for me. But that's pretty much the only time until one other time, and then, well, you guys know how it went.
Yeah, now that you mention like the narration, I do feel like the movie could have been probably better. Like the intro could have been better if there was no narration. Like if they're just in the gymnasium of the school, just having that conference about the kids and like the whole city, the whole parents being mad about Justine, you know, because she's the one that's getting the blame placed on her for the missing kids because it was her classroom. I feel like that scene could have been probably better without the narration of the little girl. Like we still would have gotten like the point across of like the movie, you know. We didn't
So you're
really need
saying
that.
so you're saying everyone, or like within all the parents yelling, they'd be yelling out the points that were made in the narration.
Yes, about like the
Okay.
missing kids, about that it was her classroom, that they've been gone for a month, that it's time to open up the school. Like, yeah, that all could have been done without the narration. But
Okay.
the thing I do like about the narration was the end when like the little girl she like does mention something that kind of has like it's like a big thing about the movie. So that kind of that did help too with the narration. But yeah, the intro besides like the narration, yeah, it was good. I went into this movie without watching a trailer. I just knew about the cast and that Zach Kreger was the director. And I just recently saw the trailer like 2 days ago, and the trailer was basically like the intro, like it's the little girl narrating it. So like the whole 10 minutes, the whole 5-minute intro, it's like if you're just watching the trailer. But yeah, but I still enjoyed it. Like the song choice, George Harrison, it really did set the tone. And yeah, there were I think I saw like a lot of hate on the movie saying that it wasn't really like excuse me, that it wasn't really like horror-y. But yeah, which is kind of true. Like for the first half of the movie, there's not really that much horror. There's maybe like two little like pop-ups, and that's about it. But yeah, the intro I still enjoyed it. You know? But yeah, I could have done without the narration of the little girl, I think.
I don't know, man. I think the narration was perfect. I don't know if I would change that aspect, but you do bring a interesting topic up. Like, what if you just got those, you know, those topic subjects through the screaming parents? And I could see where other directors might have played it that way, and that's why you're getting your vision through that. But honestly, I feel like the narration did it perfectly. I feel like it set us up for what was to come, and it led us perfectly into, you know, the kids just running off into the night, and like you said, just the pick of George Harrison's song just completely, you know, made it complete, and we got this, at least to me, this amazing intro scene, you know, that just told us where we were, not a detail more, and we were set and ready to kind of try to discover this mystery that was unfolding in this town. But first up, we had our first chapter, which was Justine. Justine was played by Julia Garner, who also played Silver Surfer earlier this year. Justine was a teacher of the missing classroom. She was what I would say was the main protag and was just hit with a bunch of bad luck. Even though she always had the best intentions, she never really carried them out in the best way. But her story really did follow her just trying to clear her name up and discover the unfolding mystery that's been taking over this town. I really enjoyed Julia's performance in this. Her as Justine, just, you know, the anxiety that character brought from the desperation of her just trying to clear her name, trying to find these children, knowing that she wasn't really at fault for any of this, but she was being witch hunted for it, was just it was a phenomenal performance from Julia's part. What did y'all think of Justine? Were there any standout scenes in this chapter y'all want to point out?
Now, I think Julia Garner's been around long enough that we can't exactly say that she's having her coming out party,
Mm-hmm.
right? However, I want to point out that when you take a Fantastic Four into account,
Mm-hmm.
weapons, and you remember that Wolfman came out back in January, regardless of what you think of Wolfman or not, I don't think Julia Garner has ever had this many projects come out in one calendar year. So if no one's ever brought it up, I'm going to say Julia Garner's having her coming out party, right?
Yeah.
Yes, you guys might have seen her on Ozark. You weren't watching Ozark for Julia Garner initially. You guys might have seen her on Inventing Anna, but most people probably wouldn't have even figured, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, the 2025 is the coming out party of Julia Garner. I thought she was incredible, not just for some of the reasons you mentioned. Justine's a flawed character. Justine felt like an actual human being, not like some other characters in movies who, you know, can do it all. You know, we knew damn well Justine wasn't about to crack the case all by herself. We saw her trying, and I remember sitting there in the theater a few times just being like, "No, sweetie, no, don't do this. Is not a good decision." Right? But like any human being, she's just doing what she can, right? Against her best, against her best intentions and against better judgment, right? And then even some of her, she's so flawed. Like the scenes where she wants to talk to the little boy, right, from her class,
Alex.
right, and to Alex, and the whole time I'm thinking, I get that you want to help, but her acting is so well. You can tell that she wants to talk to Alex more for her own sake than for his, right?
True.
Almost selfishly to a point, but that's the character. And she did some great acting, even her face acting, like the scene at the bar, right? With Paul, where she's just totally bummed out, but then she gets happy to see him. Like the transition from how bummed out she is to happy to see him is flawless face acting, right? just really good stuff. There was only one thing that disappointed me that we're gonna come to at the end about it, and it's not even Julia Garner's fault, but yes, Justine was the driving force in this movie, and I don't care what the billing order on the movie says.
Yeah, Justine was cool. She was a good main character. I liked her. Like you guys said, she is a flawed character, you know. You see that with the choices she makes. Like, yeah, like you guys said, she kept on like insisting on talking to little boy Alex when they said that's a no-no. She went as far as to go into his house, and when she didn't see nobody answering, she went to the backyard, peeping through the window and stuff, like super creepy. Even with her like relation, even with her like relationship choices, you know, she's not that smart, and like you just kind of feel bad for her because like she's just going through it. Like the whole city is blaming her. You see that she's going through it because she goes to the liquor store. She buys 2 whole bottles. You know she's gonna
After
finish that
like
before the
after
first day
being
of
told to
school.
go like after being told to go straight home, mind you, that was one of those decisions where I'm just like, sweetie, what are you doing?
Yeah, yeah. So she is flawed, but you do care for her because you know she has good intentions. Like she just wants to find out what happened to the kids. You know.
Archer was up next, played by the man himself, Josh Brolin, aka Thanos. This was a nice surprise as I didn't know he was in it. I went into this movie as blind as possible, so it was a nice surprise to see him there. His character was a desperate dad doing anything to find his son. He stalked Justine, he vandalized her car, he even went as far as to trick Justin Long into showing him his Ring camera footage when his wife originally had declined. One standout scene from Josh to me was the dream sequence where he followed his kids' footsteps all the way to the house, where we'd later find out the kids were being held. But I bring this scene up because when he looks at the house, he sees a giant gun with the numbers 217 over the house. We knew 217 is the time that the kids all ran out, but people started speculating what the gun meant. Sadly, it means nothing, as Zach went on a podcast a few days later after the movie dropped, and cleared it up by saying that he didn't even know what it meant. Sometimes he just does stuff to do stuff. With that being said, what did y'all think of Brolin in this? Any standout scenes? Do you believe that Zach is saying that the gun meant nothing, or do you think it does mean something and he's just waiting for us to find out?
I mean, I thought a lot about Josh Brolin. First thing I want to mention though, since you didn't mention it, is that Josh Brolin is also an executive producer on this movie,
Oh, I didn't
and
know that.
I found that an interesting point, just because maybe this could be something that's happening in the future in Hollywood. If more actors start taking on executive producer roles in movies, and then they just decide, you know what, we need this character, I'm just gonna do it myself. And now going forward, I think I'm gonna start trying to pay attention to more executive producer credits because that might make me want to see a movie, depending on if I see someone I like is gonna be executive producer, you know, because there's a
Mhm.
chance they'll show up. But as for Josh Brolin, Archer was his name in this movie, by the way. As a dad myself, I found something very interesting about his character in that most writers or directors would write a dad as with a missing son like Archer's in this movie. They would write the dad as trying to play it off, and they would give that role of being depressed and still sleeping in the kid's room after he's gone. They would give that role to the mother character, right? But that's not what happened in this movie. And I found that just a very interesting take. And I don't know who made that decision, but I appreciate it because it shows that dads can feel just as much and they can break down just as hard as something like this happened to them. And yes, I know the public perception would be that the dad would be the one keeping it all together, but surprisingly here it's the mom. You know, you see her knock on the door and just be like, "I'm going to work," and she just looks so like almost disgusted with Archer.
Like you're
Like
sleeping in
this,
the room again.
yeah, like she looks so over, not over that her son is missing, but she just looks so over him, and I'm like, in 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 past movies, that would be the mother sleeping in that room, and the dad would be the one, you know, keeping about his business. So I found that an interesting take. You know, someone just sticking up for the dads out there. Now, as far as Josh Brolin himself, yeah, he it, I like that in the beginning he plays your typical tough guy, and you just think you're gonna hate him for this whole movie, right? Especially coming off the Justine chapter and just
Yeah,
having just gone head over heels for her character.
yeah. He's like
But
dead
no,
set that she's the one that did it.
yeah, but no, the movie did a really good job in showing Archer starting from one place, and towards the end, you're like fully on his side. You've forgiven him for, you know, his accusations of Justine, and you're with him. I will say this: when he wanted to see the footage of the other family where Justin's Long wife, the wife of Justin Long's character,
Mm-hmm.
that was funny to me. I don't know if it was meant to be funny. You know, he asks her if he can, and she says no, so he waits, and then he waits for the dad, played by Justin Long, by the way, to come and ask. By the way, quick side note: Justin Long survives a horror movie for only the second time in his career. Second time in his career. Drag Me to Hell was the first one. But yeah, if you see Justin Long in a horror movie, it's most likely he's not going to survive. But
What about Tusk? He survived as a walrus though.
call that surviving.
Did
Fine,
he
2.5.
survive Barbarian?
Yeah. No,
No, he
Oh,
did
no,
not.
he did not.
Okay.
He did
I was
not.
trying to remember.
Yeah, but all right, 2.5. This 2.5 times Justin Long has survived. But I see. I found that funny, and I feel like that was supposed to be funny, right?
Yeah.
But there are
Yeah.
other scenes coming up later that I don't think were supposed to be funny, but they did end up being funny.
Yeah,
Now
like a lot of the characters' reactions were funny. Like when Josh Brolin woke up from his nightmare and like, he saw the lady in his like the ceiling, and he just woke up like, "What the fuck?" Or like when Justine, like when there's like banging on her door, there's like people like outside her house and they're like banging, and she's scared and like she just reacts like, "Jesus Christ, what the fuck?" And, like, it
yeah,
was just like really funny to me too.
no, yeah,
I
like
feel like they
there
were
are
done on
parts that
purpose. Yeah.
no, there are some that were done on purpose, but when we get to the part that I'm not sure of, I'll see how you guys felt about it. Now,
Yeah.
I am with Jesse on this. The gun on top of the house. In the moment, I thought that was dumb, and I was like, "This seems so unnecessary." Don't get me wrong, guns are scary. Like if someone put a gun on me in real life, I'd be scared like a horror movie.
Yeah.
But that was not necessary here. So like, I didn't even need to wait for Zach Krager to come out on any podcast later and be like, "Yeah, the gun meant nothing." I'm like, it meant nothing to me in the theater, and it meant nothing here. It's one of the things that had me knocking it down a peg or two. But yeah, Josh Brolin, as we keep unrolling the chapters, I'll let you guys know when I turn the page on Josh Brolin. But in the first like 15 minutes of Josh Brolin, I'm like, this guy's a dick. But,
Yeah. Yeah, the gun kind of went over my head. I didn't really notice until you guys brought it up right now. I think you both brought up the gun. And I don't even like, remember there being a gun in that sequence.
it's like an assault. It's like an
Yeah.
assault rifle. It's very they made the assault rifle almost like the same color as the night sky behind it, but it's there,
Yeah, it just like hangs above the house, and like it's kind of rotating, and it has 217 like right in the middle, and like he
It's
sees it,
so-
he acknowledges it, but
Yeah.
he also
It's-
doesn't know what the fuck it means, so he's just like, okay.
It's so weird and out of place. Even though it was a dream sequence, it's so weird and out of place. Like
True.
maybe the worst miss of the movie that didn't have many, by the way.
Yeah. Yeah, Josh Brolin's character was cool. You know, he's like your stereotypical relentless dad that's doing whatever he can to find his son. Reminds me of Hugh Jackman in Prisoners. That's another
Oh,
suspense movie I
Good
like.
movie. Good movie.
And, yeah, he was kind of a dick in the beginning, Josh Brolin, but he was still a good character. He was a big reason of why the kids got founded. You know, it was his relentlessness.
Paul was up next, played by Alden Ehrenreich. He also played Stain's kid in Ironheart earlier this year and Han Solo in the Solo film. He played the cop with shit luck. Paul went through it all, from cheating on his wife, getting stabbed by used needles twice, and even eventually getting his head blown off. This was definitely an interesting perspective, as we don't normally get it in these kind of movies, but Alden was great. Once I saw him, I feared that I would just see his character from Ironheart, but no, he really did play this part to a T. What y'all think of Paul? Did you like him? Were there any scenes in Paul's chapter y'all want to bring up?
So I think first and foremost for the actor himself, for Alden, if I'm him, I make best friends with Zach Krieger right now, man. I make best friends with him like on the set, and I'll tell you why. Okay, he's kind of bit of, you know how people say, oh, people are hit or miss.
Mm-hmm.
Now, so far in his career, I'd argue he's only been miss. I mean, Weapons might be the best things he's been in. I mean, well, Cocaine Bear, but no one saw Cocaine Bear because of him. Let's be honest with ourselves, right?
But we did watch Cocaine Bear.
We did watch Cocaine Bear though. He was in Oppenheimer, but once again, no one was watching Oppenheimer because of him.
I didn't even
Unfortunately,
know
right?
he was
So
an Oppenheimer. So
everyone and their mother's in Oppenheimer, so that doesn't count. Ironheart, I guess, but like you said, I don't even remember his character's name. He's Stain's kid to me.
yeah,
The
he's
hell was
Stain's
his
kid.
name? Right. Solo. Let's not rehash that. Obviously. So yeah, I would argue that Weapons is so far the height of his career, and yes, I would try to join myself to Zach Krager's hip and try to land a role in that upcoming Resident Evil movie, and then just let the career trajectory go up from here. But no, you know what? He did a very good job of playing just like this very tweener character. Like he's a cop, so I already didn't like him. I don't like cops. And he now one thing that you said, Jesse, that he cheated on his wife. I'm not sure it was his wife. I don't think they were married. I don't know, because when he's at the bar with Justine, he tells him that, oh, we're not together right now or something like that. And that makes me think that it's just like a long-term live-in boyfriend-girlfriend situation, right?
Okay.
If they were married, I feel like he would have said like, oh, we're separated right now or something. He just said we're not together right now.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Oh, and by the way though, like Justine getting her ass whooped for that. Yeah, that was one of those that was one of those parts that to me was funny, but it was one of those like, nah, that's a mistake you knew you were doing, sweetie. That you should have known that one was coming. But yeah, that part was funny also. And Paul, yeah, he's just he has bad luck. He's on the program. I imagine they made it seem like he was trying to be on the program and having a drink. He loses his sobriety chip, cheats on his girlfriend, potentially catches whatever disease that the junkie has, right? When he gets poked by the needle in his pocket.
Yeah.
That same girlfriend who he cheats on, her dad is like his boss.
Yeah.
Like, man, dude, like
Just a bunch of bad decisions.
yeah. Oh, and also he like when he retaliates on the junk James, when he retaliates on James, he forgets to turn off his body cam first, so he's just decking him like on the body cam, and I'm just like, where for Justine, watching her make her mistakes, and I'm just like, no, watching him make his mistakes, I'm like, yeah, that's gonna happen, right? But no, he played his part to a T. He took what was a secondary, dare I even say, tertiary role, and made me notice it. So he did what he was supposed to, right? And I really hope that Zach Krager's still new enough that I don't know how he treats his people, but he seems to have taken Justin Long under his wing, because Justin Long keeps appearing in Zach Krager stuff. So if Alden got himself in one of those spots, I look forward to seeing stuff from him in the future.
Yeah, Paul's character, yeah, I would say this was my least favorite chapter out of all of them. I didn't really care for it.
Oh,
And
interesting.
I think yeah, I think that was his wife though. I think I saw somewhere that that his wife is
okay.
yeah, I think that's the daughter of the police chief. So like
No,
when
we-
he like so
we
like
know
when
it's
he
his daughter, but we don't know.
yeah.
I didn't
Oh.
get clarification on if they were married or not, though. But
yeah. Yeah, true. Yeah, but yeah, he was a piece of shit, like we were saying how Josh Brolin was a dick, but that was just because he was just being a dad. But now this guy, he's just being a dick cop, he's a
like he'd be a jerk even if there weren't 17 missing kids in the town or whatever, right?
yeah, he looked like he didn't even care about the 17 missing kids. When like Julia or when like Justine brought it up, she was like, I hope that's not the vibe at the station. Like talking about how like it's just like whatever, like about the kids.
Yeah.
But yeah, he even like harassed the junkie. What's his name? James.
James.
Yeah.
He's being like when he shut off his camera, that was crazy. He shut it off twice. But yeah, the only like notable thing about his part that I liked was James's part. Like that's when we were introduced to James, I think, to the crackhead junkie.
We were, yes.
Yeah, I did not need to see Julia Carpenter. What's her name? I did not need to see Justine
Julie
getting
Gardner.
cracked. Yeah, Julie Gardner. We could have skipped that.
I mean, they did in her initial chapter,
Yeah.
right? But I think that was a smart movie making decision because to her, getting cracked didn't mean that much in the sense of the story, and it
Mhm.
makes sense that if they were going to show that, they showed it during Paul's chapter. That's
Yeah.
that's just smart like perspective
Mhm.
storytelling.
Yeah. Yeah, because we already seen his wife like go up to Justine, right? That was in her chapter, or
No, I
when
think
his
that was
girl
later.
later
I
on.
actually don't remember.
Yeah, because if you guys don't know, the movie's told in like a non-linear aspect, so it goes back and
Yeah,
forth from
it goes back
beginning
and
to
forth.
end.
So I'm having trouble remembering like whose chapter specifically that was in, but I do remember
Yeah.
that um we come back to that. So we at one point we went past Justine getting beat up, and then in a future chapter it goes back to it. So that's one of the reasons also why 4.5 instead of 5. But carry on, carry on.
Really, I like that aspect. Like I like when movies are told in like a not a straight line. Like you go back and forth from beginning to end, like in Reservoir Dogs or Pulp Fiction. I think it makes the movies interesting.
Up next, you guys brought him up earlier, was James, another cool perspective as he followed the day of a junkie in this town. Played by Austin Abrams, who also played Ethan in Euphoria, James was just your run-of-the-mill junkie trying to find a score. And he's actually the first person to find the missing kids. And in doing so, he wanted to score that bag. But things go south as his story is very intertwined with Paul's, like we said, and due to that, it leads to both their undoings. James' story had me laughing for a good bit of the film, but let me get y'all thoughts. Were y'all rocking with James? Did y'all like the junkie perspective? Like I said, I very much did. I thought it was kind of interesting because this is another perspective we don't typically get focused on horror movies, so it was kind of nice seeing here.
I didn't watch Euphoria, right? My wife did, but I
Mm-hmm.
also didn't. I I did not. I have not peripherally paid enough attention to Euphoria to notice that James is actors from there. So that one's on me. That one's on Austin. What's his name now? Austin Abrams, right?
Austin
Yeah.
So
Abrams.
to me, this is my first real exposure to him.
Mhm.
And a big thing that I'll say about his James, his junkie, I found this on a comment. I can't remember if it was on a YouTube video or Reddit. I gotta start screenshotting these so I can give like proper credit. But somebody was like, "Hey, I live in that part of the country, and let me just say, that's exactly how junkies look." I don't know if he went out there and spent some time with them, but somebody who claims to live in the same state that the movie was supposedly filmed, like, or that the movie takes place in, don't know if it was also filmed or takes place. They were like, "That's exactly how junkies are out here." That man nailed it to a T. I'm like, damn, all right then. Like, and yeah, like I've seen enough episode of Cops to have seen some of the stuff in James' character. I've seen some of that stuff on Cops, and I'm like, yeah, he did some real research. He did some real like just when he's breaking into the warehouse and he's all like, "Nah, man, I just got a job here. It's my first day, man. Don't." Junkies will say anything, and then later in the movie, now this happens after he's been, I don't even know what we're calling it, possessed, taking control over, voodoo doll, whatever, and he's Josh Brolin's Archer is just like trying to whoop his ass, and he keeps getting up, and I'm like, dude, ain't you ever fought a crackhead before? You don't even need supernatural stuff. That's how crackheads are in general, man. Like that's not something unique to here. But I thought he was really good as definitely a tertiary character. There's no debate here. He's a tertiary character, but a lot hinges on his very short chapter, right? He finds the kids. He's the reason that Paul is out of sorts more than normal, right?
Mm-hmm.
He's as a junkie who's breaking into houses. That's the storytelling mechanic they use to how he like stumbled onto the kids because he wasn't on the case here. Let's be honest. He was breaking in and stealing, but that's the story mechanic they chose to go with, and I believe it. It's believable, right?
Mm-hmm.
As far as those things go. And one last thing I wanted to mention about him, his greed for the reward is what messed up his plan to try and save the kids. Now, for him, it was greed. For everyone else in this town, and especially it was that James chapter where I'm sitting in the theater and I'm like, does no one in this town know how to call for backup, or does no one is? I get it though. Like I don't know how I would act if it not just if it was my kid, but if there was that many kids. So yeah, everyone's just like so desperate, and no one's calling for backup, or no one's pulling back and going to get help, and then coming with a plan. Everyone's just going straight for it, right? So, very good. And I don't know the last time a movie made me care about a junkie. I think I was watching New Jack City back in the day. So, yeah, good on this character.
James's part was short, but I would say it was probably one of my favorites because it was the one that had like the most comedy in it and made me laugh the most.
Yeah.
I think it was the first time we saw inside of Alex's home, so we got a little bit to see more like of that, like what it's like in there. Like we saw like how his parents are acting too, how they're just like immobile, but then they start moving. They start kind of chasing him, I think, or I forgot how he gets into the basement, but he kind of gets like startled that they're not moving. Then they start
It's
moving. Then
it's weird how it gets to the basement because they really drag it out because he breaks into their house through the second floor.
mhm.
So he really works his way down, you know?
Yeah, then at first he sees them and they're just staying still, so he just continues to steal their like silverware, their belongings, and then out of nowhere is when they get up and then they start to chasing him, I think, because he gets startled and then he walks down to the basement, he sees all the 17 kids there, and then he runs out, and yeah, that's when he goes to the police station, and that's when we see what happens after. But yeah, his part was cool. I liked it. It was funny. It was one of my favorites, I would say.
Because he's a junkie, I would argue he's not even aware that there's missing kids in the town because I feel like in the scene where he's at the pawn shop, like pawning the silverware he stole, that's when he sees the poster. I could be wrong, but I feel like he's not even aware there's missing kids in the town.
I don't think so,
He
especially
claims to be
because
just passing by.
especially because he's like living in a tent in a forest. I don't. Yeah, I and the fact that he claims he's passing by, like, I don't think he's very aware or that the townspeople actually know who he is. You know,
Yeah.
The drifter.
the drifter. Second to last before the mystery was solved, we had Marcus. Marcus was played by the amazing Benedict Wong. Marcus didn't have too much screen time, but he was a pivotal role in this movie. He was the principal at the school where the kids went missing, and he was also Justine's primary handler through the movie. He was also the person that was primarily dealing with our dear old aunt, and because of this, he was free game and the perfect candidate to be the one that she possessed. This was also the first time that we saw her actually doing the possession itself, as we see her introduce it to Alex later on in the film. But Wong's one of those actors that's just solid through and through, so this performance was nothing short than killer. I want to get y'all's thoughts on this. I want to see if there's any scenes that stick out to you from Marcus's chapter. What y'all think about our boy Wong?
Love Wong, right? Big Benedict Wong guy. He doesn't come out in a lot, but stuff he does come out in. However, not because of him, but I will say in his chapter is where some of my unanswered questions come up in, where not that I'm looking to nitpick, but when I got to thinking about it, first and foremost, he's the principal, right? And he's like his chapter takes place on the weekend though, because it's not a school day. He's at home, right, with his partner, and that's where our
With the
main
tray of hot
antagonist
dogs?
comes in to well, not just hot dogs. There's like hot dogs and
Chips.
celery sticks, carrots. He's
It's
got
7
a
hot dogs for
got
2
a-
people. That's a lot.
he's got a good snack setup, man. We need to recreate some of the next time we have a get together, we need to recreate that plate.
I've seen people on TikTok already doing the weapons hot dog challenge.
It's hot dog challenge. Why, man? Sometimes I'm glad I don't have TikTok, but okay. All right, but no, so outside of him, being he's the first chapter where we get an explanation to how it's all working, and we see him become controlled or possessed or bewitched, whatever you want to call it. I don't even think they ever specify, right? They leave it ambiguous as to what hypnotized. I don't know what to say. what to call it. And yeah, he goes off like a just like a heat-seeking missile, just one goal and one goal only. And apparently it was Justine, which by the way we forgot to mention. This is accomplished with some of Justine's hair, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because earlier in the film, Justine, once again against better judgment, is for some reason conducting like her own independent stakeout of Alex's house.
Yeah.
And when I say how creepy it is when the possessed mother comes out and she's walking all, because she's not Naruto running like everyone else, right? She's
No.
got like this.
She's
This
walking
very
like a witch from Left 4 Dead. That's what she reminded me of. She's just
Left 4
walking,
Dead. I was
walking that.
no,
like,
I was gonna say
broken
she's walking like
leg.
she's walking like a zombie in the Thriller video.
Oh,
Or
that,
for any
yeah.
gamers out there, if you ever played Octodad, she's walking like Octodad, like, but like, and she's got these scissors, and you're like really scared for Justine, like, oh man, Justine's about to get slashed, and then like you see that all she does is like cut Justine's hair, and for some reason that made it even scarier for me. Like,
Oh, yeah.
oh my
That was
god,
probably like the scariest scene, I think. But it was like
her walking up to the car, and
yeah, and then like she stops, and then like to me it was when she opened the car door. Like as soon as you hear the opening the car door,
yeah,
the whole theater just gasped. And it was
yeah. So like,
"Oh."
and
and
that
then you
brings
see
me.
the cut herring.
Yeah,
cutting the
and
herring.
that brings me to something I said earlier. Does no one know how to call for backup? Why wasn't Justine's door like, oh, so many things, but I get it, right? But like, yes, like I don't know what Justine was doing, conducting her own stakeout that she also took had alcohol for, right? Like you see her pouring
Yeah,
the
and
vodka
the
into
little slushy cup.
the big gulp, yeah, whatever. Like,
Yeah.
and yeah, and as scary as it was to see the zombified like mother going there with the scissors, it was even scarier at the thought that she didn't slash her throat. I was like, oh damn, it's gonna be worse, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, so the and Gladys sets Marcus to just, I don't even know what the command is. The command seems to be attack Justine and don't
Yeah.
stop, right? Like, because we get a little Marvel throwback with Thanos fighting Wong. I remember Thanos winning easier last time around, but yeah, dude, he's just like it. Now this is also where Archer's character turned around for me, because he's just like laying into Justine at the gas station. She's pumping. This is what happens. Justine's pumping gas. Archer sees her and he's like, like trying to have a confrontation with her. And then once Marcus comes out of nowhere and he's just like attacking her, and you see Josh Brolin's Archer finally step in and be like, nah, I'm gonna fight for Justine here. That's to me, I was like, I did a little fist pump in the theater, like, yeah, you made the right choice. Like he, and then something that really made me happy with the storytelling here is they did a very little show don't tell, right? Archer fights for Justine. He helps put Marcus down, and then he waits for Justine to get out of the ER, I'm guessing, right? And they kind of just look at each other and they just nod, like non-verbal. It's like, you know what? I've been a jerk. I've been accusing you. Something else is happening. We should work together. They don't even, it's not in the dialogue. They don't bother with it. It's just two characters who just went through something, and they just look at each other and they just nod. And from that point forward in the movie, we have like a tandem with those two going forward. And I like that. That's very good show don't tell. And I think that's everything from Marcus's chapter.
I do want to cut in here before we let Boyo get in his thoughts, but I wanted to know what your point was when you turned on Brolin's character. And I gotta say, it's interesting that he turned a page for you on that scene, because he also turned the same page for me on that scene, just not in the same moment that you did. For me, the point where Josh Brolin finally turned from being too, how would I say, too drastic in his approach towards Justine was in that gas station scene. Was when he finally confronts her and she's kind of telling him like, dude, it's not me. Like, I don't know what you want from me, but it's just not me. And he kind of like has this realization, like you said, where he's like, shit, maybe it's not her. And he's like, listen, I know I'm coming off aggressive, but that's not how I want to come off. And that's when Marcus interrupts, And that moment where Josh Brolin kind of calms down a little bit, and he finally starts seeing eye to eye with Justine, that's where he turned for me. And it's just moments before he turned for you for completely different reasons. But I find it interesting that it's that one scene solely where we all kind of gather like, yeah, this is where Brolin goes from too much of a drastic I don't know, fucking investigator to finally working in tandem with someone that's also trying to get to the final result, So I just want to get that out there. I thought it was interesting that we both turned the page on Josh Brolin like at the same time, just in different parts. But it's interesting. It's interesting that that's the moment that Josh Brolin's character went from too much to all right, let's get it together.
Yeah, and I'll tell you why. For me, it happened only a few moments after you. It's more of a personal perspective thing, but actions speak louder than words. Yeah,
Mhm.
he's telling Justine, hey, maybe it isn't you. Maybe I'm wrong. Those are just words. Throwing hands with a possessed demon hunter here, those are actions, okay? So
True.
to me, actions speak louder than words. So it's one thing, and plus we know that sometimes he just uses his words to get what he wants, like going to the house to see the people's door footage, right? Ring door footage. So yeah, him saying that maybe he's wrong about Justine, but then him actually getting into a physical altercation to back up what he said is that's what for me really helps seal it.
Marcus chapter was one of my favorites. What I liked about it was that we kind of took a break from like the two previous chapters, the Paul and like the James chapter. We kind of took like a little bit of side quest away from like the kids and all that. Like, it kind of like goes away. Like we like end with like Justine and like Archer. Then we go to Paul and James, and then like once we get to Marcus's chapter, that's when like we're introduced to Aunt Gladys, and that's where like shit really starts to pop off. And that's why it was one of my favorites. And yeah, like we're just like introduced to like Aunt Gladys and more of like her powers and like the witchcraft, how she controls them. And yeah, there's more there's some pretty gory scenes in this one too. You
Yeah.
have Marcus bashing his husband's face in after he got put under her curse or whatever. And yeah, you guys brought up that scene where he's at the gas station when he's like running towards it. And when he's like running towards Justine, and we saw that like a little bit earlier. Like I think we saw that at the end of Archer's chapter. That's when we see Marcus running towards her, all bloody face, running like with the Naruto run. And then like we take a break from that. Then we go to Paul and James, and then like we start off with Marcus' chapter. And yeah, Aunt Gladys, oof, she like the way that she just switches it on and off from like with the wig and the makeup to like where she's like in like Alex's house. That's really good.
Just a fair warning. So most of my nitpicks are coming up with Aunt Gladys,
Uh-huh.
and it's not just so much with the character, just so much with like the writing. But we're about to get there. We're about to
Yeah.
get.
Oh, yeah, like I wouldn't be surprised if Aunt Gladys is nominated for best supporting actress.
Shit, that's a big honor. I mean,
Yeah.
she
I
did
haven't
great.
seen that many movies this year.
I
haven't seen
I-
that many movies this year, but yeah,
I
she's up there.
I feel it, but with how the billing went in this movie, I think the one that's going to qualify for best supporting actress is going to be Julia Garner.
No way.
They
See,
gave Josh Brolin top billing, man. That
Yeah.
was one of my
yeah,
complaints.
but they have a lead actress and supporting actress too.
We'll
So they-
see, but I think they're trying to pigeonhole
they
Julia
could.
Garner into it. She should have been. First of all, she should have got top billing. Sorry, I was
Yeah.
trying to say this complaint for later, but
No,
now
yeah.
seems like a good time.
I thought she did.
Julia,
Like she is the main
Julia
character.
Garner was right. No, the credits roll and it's Josh Brolin's name first, and
Yeah.
I walked out of that theater pissed.
That's
Okay,
crazy.
you
We're
guys were
introduced
there.
to Justine first. That's crazy.
You guys were there. You saw it. I was like, the hell is this?
She's the
I love you,
main
Josh.
she's the main person in all the trailers. She
I love
she
you, Josh
got all
Brolin.
the
Yeah. Thank you for being executive producer. Thank you for most likely bankrolling this and being in it. But Julia Garner's name should have been first. All right. The hell are we doing here? What the hell are we doing?
I mean, like I said, she was the poster child. I have no idea why you wouldn't top bill her. Josh Brolin, like I said, I didn't even know he was in the movie till I got there. So that's kind of crazy.
Maybe because he was an executive producer, they put his name first. Maybe because he put in
Well,
some money for
you
the
know,
movie. I guess.
you know who makes those decisions? Executive producers. I see you, Josh. I
Alright.
love you, Josh. I love you, Josh. I see you, but come on, man. This is a situation where you you should have let Julia Garner get top billing, man.
Yeah, they made a wrong choice right there.
Finally, Alex was the last chapter of the sole child to not disappear from his classroom. Played by Carrie Christopher, who also has a role in the upcoming Lantern show. Carrie did fantastic in this role. Alex is shown as your regular run-of-the-mill kid, but one day he has a family guest come to stay with them. Enter one Aunt Gladys. Auntie's here to stay for a while as she's sick, but we soon find out that that's not the case. Aunt's got a little bit of brujeria going on and has his parents under a spell. It seems like dear Aunt Gladys needs possessed souls to drain life from so she can stay alive, and later in the film we find out she had Alex help in luring kids from his school with the little brujeria to his house so she can life steal from them as well. But all things don't turn out well for dear Aunt, as in the end those same kids would be the end of her. Gladys was legit a menace and I absolutely loved her performance, and Alex was truly just a kid in survival mode. Thoughts on Alex and ultimately the grand end? Did you enjoy it? Did it live up to the hype? Were you a fan of Gladys by the end?
I think Alex did what he was supposed to. I'm never a fan of kids that are too young in movies because it almost never works out, right? Especially horror movies. But Alex did well. Carrie Christopher, he did really well, right? Not every time you put a kid in a movie, it's a risk. You could get Alex, which we had here, or you can get the kid from the Black Adam movie. There's no middle ground. You're either getting, you're either getting this or you're getting, a bad performance. But in the Alex chapter is where so many of my questions come in that, while not outright plot holes, but they bothered me enough. Like, what exactly is Aunt Gladys? Because in an earlier chapter, she told the principal, Benedict Wong's Marcus, that Alex's parents had consumption. Now, I'm a big vampire aficionado. For me, it's not, my horror stuff is zombies, then vampires, then the rest, right? So I hear consumption, I think vampire, but apparently that's not what Aunt Gladys was, because she's out in the sunlight and she can possess people. Well, there's some mythos where vampires have been able to hypnotize people into doing what they want, but is she, like, or in your review of this chapter right now, you just called her a bruja, a witch for the uninitiated. Is she a witch? Is it voodoo? Witchcraft and voodoo are not exactly the same thing. So, like, which is it, right? And also, to what end? Because she says that she claims to be sick and that the possessed souls will help her, but they never really help her. What, like, keep living? Was she supposed to at some point start turning younger? I wouldn't mind if she did or didn't, but they never make it clear how she's getting better with the souls or what she's doing with them. I'm glad that nothing happened to the kids, right? But besides the fact that they're all, besides the fact that they're all in the basement, is she draining their blood? Is she draining I don't know, right? So, hell, to be honest with you, I'm not even sure she's really their aunt. Seems like a con artist move to me. Like, I don't think she's really the aunt of the mom. It was the mom's aunt, supposedly, right?
Yeah, it was she said that Alex's mom is her baby sister. But
Man,
just because she said that doesn't mean it's true.
That's what I'm saying. That sounds like that's like the kind of con people pull when they're trying to get themselves in on an inheritance or something like that. Like I would argue that there's some mythos out there that she's not even really their aunt. She just she probably, like, it's like people sending out email scams. She sent it to a bunch of people and waited for someone to respond, and it was Alex's mom that, you know what I mean? Like, so I don't know, but so many of my questions come up as it pertains to Aunt Gladys, and like I said, while not outright plot holes and while not outright film breaking, to an extent continuity breaking at minimum, and just minor nitpicks, unique to me at maximum. But No, but I thought Alex was great, and he had really good like you. Not every even adult actors aren't good with some of the portrayal. Like he's struggling with himself to like steal all the name tags of the kids in the classroom, and you can see it in his face. And like, there's adult actors who can't convey that kind of struggle with their face acting. So I'm glad he was able to, right?
Mm-hmm.
Um, was it is it part of the Alex chapter where they finally like get to the house and everything? Is that all the Alex chapter?
Yeah,
I just want to be sure if this
it
is the
does
part to
like
talk about
a
it.
it kind of does like a weird like seamless transition between telling us Alex's story and getting us up to date, I guess, where all the other characters are, and then it kind of just unfolds. All the characters kind of come into fray. You know, we have Justine, we have Archer, we have Paul, we have Aunt Gladys, Alex. They're all in the house towards the end when everything is being
Okay, so this is where I'll put
culminated.
the rest of this then. So this is where the movie culminates, and this is where Justine and Archer go to the house
Mm-hmm.
once again without calling for backup, without telling anyone where they're going. What? Come on, man. Fine, I get it. Okay, but oh, and at some point she possessed Paul, who also went to the house with
With
James.
the crackhead James, yeah, the junkie.
Also, they both went to the house without any backup, without any. That bothered me. So like the fact that just people bad communication was so much of the plot in this movie, that's a bit of a bother for me as well. But this is where everything culminates. Now in this scene or in this section of the movie is where Alex somehow has watched this Aunt Gladys, quote unquote, do her witchcraft enough that he's able to also cast a spell to try and turn the tables, right?
Yeah.
And this is also where a lot of our characters meet their untimely demise in some very gruesome ways. I'm talking like brains blown out, bullet to the head, choked out. And this is also where Aunt Gladys meets her demise as well, which do you guys think that was meant to be funny? Was that
Yeah.
meant to be?
Yeah, I
Was
do.
it?
I
I
think
think
that
so. The
Okay.
whole chasing, yeah.
Because if I'm not mistaken, even the score drops. It's complete silence, and
It
you
is.
just see like this old.
Just
old
the way
woman.
she's running is just hilarious.
But I
and
think
then and
that,
all the
that-
kids screaming.
I think that was
Yeah.
meant to be like meant for them just to cut the score because like you wanted to
Yeah.
hear Aunt Gladys kind of like gasping for air, running through these houses or running through these yards,
Yeah.
and then hear
fear
that
in her
full
voice.
force of like these children just yelling, chasing her after, and you hear it in like a little wave, you'll hear
Yeah,
just
the
as they're
sounds.
just as
But
they're
by
passing
the
by,
way,
it's just
I've
You hear like the
I've been-
Doppler effect go by.
I've been around enough school pickups to know that is exactly what groups of children sound like. Okay, that was no for real, legit. That's spot on. Okay,
You're telling me they
that is
don't
spot
sound like
on.
the kids from episode 1?
Yeah, and so for me that's a lot of the problems came in with who and what Aunt Gladys specifically is, and I feel this was not the best example of show don't tell. I feel like Krager was just trying to show us, right? But when you got the antagonist like this, and you're like, or it was a bad example. When people say, "Oh, showing the monster is a mistake," your mind, what you imagine is always scarier, right? And I feel like this was a miss on trying to do that because we clearly saw Aunt Gladys, we clearly saw the things she was doing, but I still am not 100% clear on what exactly she was or how all these people's energy was helping her, right?
Mm-hmm.
But yes, this was the climax, and also a nitpick that I've been saving ever since the opening narration. The opening narration says at 2:17 a.m., all the kids got up out of bed, opened their doors, ran away, and never returned. And the end of the movie clearly has the kids returning. So continuity error. Continuity. Zach, what else? Continuity error, very minimal, but it matters, especially because that opening narration was such a a big part of this film.
It might be a Mandela effect, but I'm pretty sure I remember hearing you say this is where our story begins after she does the initial narration, which, like I said, it leads us perfectly into where the movie begins. I think that at that point the narrator was saying they never returned because at that point they hadn't returned, you know, and that's why
Maybe, but
we get a second narration towards the end of the film
okay.
where she says, you know, even some of the kids started speaking again.
I do feel though that she does say in that opening narration that this was 2 years ago though. Also,
2 years ago, yeah, she said that.
yeah, so she did that in the
Oh.
opening narration though. So the
Okay.
the never return part just is still just, you know, like I said, that's why it's one of my nitpicks, and I'm not saying it should be a nitpick for everybody, but for me, right? For
That
me,
makes sense.
that's where that comes in. And yeah, we have the oh, and one other thing, and I know that nobody meant to portray this, but these kind of details stick out to me. And when they say that Alex, the closing narration says that Alex went on to a foster family and,
Yeah.
you know, lived happily ever after. Make no mistake, nothing should ever be portraying the foster system as what's best for a kid, okay? And I know Zach Krieger didn't mean that. I know the writers aren't out here trying to stand up for the foster system, but I personally didn't like that detail, like making it seem like, I get it, he had to go to a foster family. Like it'd be too corny for him to be adopted by Justine, right?
But
Yeah.
it
Miss
did,
Candy wasn't gonna.
did they make it
Did they say it was a
seem like
foster?
it was a foster family?
No, they
Because
said
from-
they said it
I-
was a foster. They said it was a foster family.
I
Like, thought-
remember
they
them
said it was
saying
another
it was
aunt.
another aunt.
Yeah,
Another
that's what I
aunt?
heard. Another
I
aunt,
recall it
that's what
being
I heard.
foster, but we'll get it on a rewatch.
I
If
feel,
it was foster,
I feel like
I
you
don't
have
like
some
that.
personal gripes still from Lilo and Stitch, because that
Lilo and
was never.
Wait, that wasn't a
fucking
foster.
said.
No, that wasn't a foster. That was the neighbor. She knew the
It
neighbor at
was
least.
technically
It
a
was-
foster situation. Come on.
Yeah,
now.
you're right though.
Yeah.
Okay,
It was
which
technically
I
a foster
didn't care.
situation.
It's a realistic ending, anyways. Fuck you guys for thinking
Yeah.
otherwise. But no. And this one,
Hey, we
I
said it. I
really,
said it was
I
realistic.
really didn't. I really no other people. You know, like people in
Okay.
general. They were up in arms. They were
What
up in
happened?
arms when Lilo and Stitch came up. People were so up in arms with that fucking ending. I'm like, shit, get the fuck
yeah.
bent. You know, like come back down to reality. But no, like in this one, honestly, like I never heard them say like he went to a foster system. So like
Or-
while your point still stands, you know, I don't feel like they should be glorifying a foster system in any movie. I don't think
Yeah.
that's exactly what happened in this situation. They clearly, at least to me and Pollo, we heard them say he went to
Yeah.
another aunt. So I don't think it was a foster system. I think it was just depending on how damaged his parents were, they're either getting treatment and they'll eventually get to have Alex back if he's
Get him back,
with an
okay.
aunt, or they've just decided that going and living with an aunt somewhere else that's not near that town was a better situation. You know,
Man,
but overall,
it-
I don't think I would say that I understood that he went through a foster system.
Yeah, if I'm Alex though, like if I'm Alex, first of all, look what just happened with the last aunt. I'm not about to go with another one. Hold on, I'm not about to
No.
go with another one. Hold on,
You
like
gotta
'cause
be
I'm-
kidding me.
yeah, exactly. Wait, because once again, since we don't know what Aunt Gladys really was, if she is a witch, witches come in covens. It's just as likely that next aunt is one of them too. Okay,
That's true.
who knows, right? Like, is she? But anyways, Oh,
Mhm.
and final continuity error. Maybe I looked at the wrong movie poster, but I swear the movie poster says Mrs. Gandy, and Justine is clearly not married. It's Miss Gandy, damn it.
Mm,
She
That's a
ain't no
typo.
Miss. She ain't no. Nah, I think that's on the poster. I'll look it up right now, but but it says Mrs. Gandy, and that is clearly a Miss Gandy. But you know, that's just like I said, minor nitpick. But at this level, like yeah, I'm looking at a poster right now. It says every child from Mrs. Gandy's class, MRS,
Yeah.
could be a widow. Could be a widow. We'll never know.
So, do you guys think that? Do you guys think they are related, Aunt Gladys and Alex, or not?
I'm gonna go with no,
No.
but that's just because for me that would help the story better.
I would say that they are related, cause she kind of like was making it seem like whenever she was doing like those little witchcraft potions, whatever, she would like tell him like, "Are you watching?" or whatever, like making sure that like he pays attention, maybe like to like teach him in the future or something. That's kind of what I was thinking, like when I was watching it.
So you think she was grooming him to be like the successor of the whatever twig
Wait.
branch that we want to call it?
Yeah.
Wait,
Yeah.
so you think it's in the blood? You think not anyone can learn this witchcraft? You have to
Yeah.
be. Oh, so for that theory
I
to
think it's in
work,
the
they
bloodline.
have to be related then.
Yeah, like that's why
Interesting what you're saying
that's why his thing worked. Like when he like
Possess the
possessed the
kids.
kids, yeah, to go kill her. I think it worked because they're related. That's kind of what I figured from like when I
Okay,
was
see
watching it.
that does make it worse than if he did go live with another aunt after this. See what I mean? Like it it doesn't matter which way we go. There's a downside to it, you know?
Well, here's a little thing
Yeah.
that like I brought up after my second watch. I was in the car talking to Connie, and we were kind of discussing the whole end. You know, him taking over the kids, them ultimately killing Gladys, and then not necessarily going back to normal. We hear the narrator at the end say, at some point, some of the kids went back to normal.
Yeah.
And Connie, she took that as maybe they were under the spell for too long and they're slowly coming back. The way I took it was, you don't see them break the curse until the original cursor breaks it for them. We saw Alex perform the curse, but we never actually saw him unperform the curse, you know? So I
Yeah.
don't, like you said, he might have this in his blood and he might be somewhere else slowly unhooking the kids, but
So
I still feel like he has some kind of connection, and that's why he's slowly allowing them to come back to normal, you know, because he actually
Yeah.
doesn't know fully what he's doing as well. Gladys only showed him to a
Yeah.
certain extent, you know. So that's just
Yeah.
one of my crazier theories for like the end. It's something that me and my girlfriend were discussing towards the end. But it
that would
is
be
something
crazy. Like
it
if he
is
still has
something
them.
that like no one's bringing up. Like he cursed them, but we never saw them get uncursed. And as
You know,
we saw towards the end of the movie, they were still kind of in like that down, depressed state. So whether Alex released them or not, if he even controlled them fully, was kind of up in the air.
So
well,
you think he still has them under control?
not
It's a
on well, if
possibility.
he does, not on purpose,
Not
but
on
then
purpose,
that
yeah.
brings up that brings up an interesting point though, because he cursed them. That we're calling it a curse. He cursed them,
Mhm.
but they were already under a first curse, right? Gladys's curse. Then he curses them,
But he
and
he also
Gladys,
broke it though, because remember
he broke it. Okay,
he breaks it. She hears the ring bell. That's when the curse has come off. That's when
oh,
she
okay,
knows to run.
because
But
I was
then
gonna say Aunt
he,
Gladys is now dead, so we can't. You know,
yeah,
well, what did Doctor Strange say? Going to be hard to break a dead man's spell. Like,
yeah.
you know, like so.
Like
Okay, so
like I
there.
said,
Okay,
it makes it seem like he broke it because we hear the bell. That's when she realizes, oh shit,
Yeah.
you know what's happening, and
And
he's using the same bowl that she used
Yeah.
when she cursed the kids. So I'd imagine the papers are still floating in there, you know. So it allowed
you're
him
right.
to kind of take
Interesting.
control of the kids. So it's a small detail that's kind of like been biting at my theories for the past couple of weeks, but it is an interesting one because we don't, like Julio said, we don't get a lot of clarity in these Zack films. It was the exact same way with Barbarian. It's the exact same way with Weapons. There's a lot of loose ends that are kind of like, hey, you should probably figure them out. And that's one that's been kind of biting at me. Is like, did he
Well-
ever break the curse? Like, is he still in charge of the kids? And if so, I would imagine that he's doing it maliciously, but he's kind of in a way learning how to break them, and that's why we're getting some of the kids in certain, you know, in pockets coming back to normal, as to all the kids coming back to normal. You know,
You know what? That is interesting, but something that I find more interesting is the fact that you have the common courtesy to wait till you get in the car. Forget all that, man. I'm talking about movies in the lobby walking out, man.
I got
I'm
on
talking-
you guys for that shit
I'm-
last time we went.
I'm one of those,
I'm
man.
like, what
And
are
I-
you
He doesn't like
guys-
talking in the theaters.
Nah,
I'm
I
like,
like
bro,
talking
that's like
inside.
rule number
That-
one.
that-
Wait till you get
Nah,
outside.
man,
and
I'm
what if these
discussing the
people
movie
are
as I'm
about
walking
to
out,
see
man,
the
yeah.
same movie,
People-
and you just
People
gave it
shouldn't
all
be
away.
eavesdropping on my people shouldn't be eavesdropping on my conversations anyway, man. And that's what I said. You have the common decency and courtesy. Wait till you get to the car. Fam, the world is lucky I wasn't around back in the day, man. I'd have been talking about Darth Vader being Luke's father walking out of The Empire Strikes Back. Okay, loudly like you that's very polite. No, I'm not calling you out. I'm being honest. I'm like, man, I'm going to talk about my movie on the way out because that's how hyped I be. I like Jesse knows me, man. Theory crafting was one of my favorite things to do. And even movies that don't lend themselves to theory crafting, I'm a theory crafter. Okay, that's my jam. That's me. And I'm not waiting until I get to the car, man. we're discussing it on the way out, okay? Like if I'm stopping at the bar to get a drink on the way out of the movie theater, I'm talking about the movie, all right?
While the credits are rolling, I'm talking about it.
Well, yeah, while the credits are rolling, man, we're talking about them. Well, no, but see, while the credits are rolling, everyone's in the same theater with you. They just saw it.
Yeah,
It matters if you're talking about it once you walk out of that theater,
Yeah,
and then there's other people who are like there to see other things, or people who are about to see the movie you just watched, and then you're talking about it on the way out, man. I don't care. They shouldn't be listening in on my conversations anyway.
yeah.
Listen around me at your own risk, people. When you're walking into a movie after me, is all I'm gonna say. That's me,
Proceed
man.
with
I'm
caution.
I'm not gonna apologize for my like hypeness of the movies, but yeah, no, but I do respect you for having the common decency to wait till you get to the car. Not me,
Yeah.
man. I'm in the bathroom. I'm in the bathroom. I'm washing my hands. The guy next to me, I'm like, hey, so did you really think that he killed her? He's like, dude, I'm not even here to see that movie. My bad, man. Keep washing my hands. I don't. That's me though. That's just me. I don't know about you guys. Well, I know about Jesse. I don't know about Pollo, but that's how I am after movies.
My fucking Jesse has. He's had to shut me up a few times in the lobby. Like,
I'm
he
like,
give me the
bro,
little-
what if
little
these
hand
people
gestures.
are like
Oh, did
walking
that.
by, they're trying to get to this movie, they're like, man, I'm really hyped. And then Pollo goes, man, Thanos would have never died to one axe swing. Bro, what?
It is what it is.
I'm hyped, man.
It is what
I
it is.
can't help it if I'm hyped, man. I can I can't help it if I'm hyped. Or what do you? I wonder what would be like. What has been in the past like the biggest? Like I said, they're lucky I wasn't around back in the day, man. I'd
Oh, yeah.
have left. I'd have walked out of Rocky 3 in theaters like, I can't believe Mickey died. Just ruining it for everybody, man. Like, just-
Yeah. No, like that happened with Fight Club. I think somebody went on like national TV and spoiled the ending.
Uh,
And like that was like a
It's different.
twist
That
ending.
person was being a jerk on purpose because you're saying he went on national TV. I'm talking about just us as fans being so hyped about the movie we just saw that we're like talking about it as we like exit. You know what I mean? That's that. If you're going on that, that's on purpose. I'm not purposefully going on stuff and ruining it. But I'm just saying that, like when we watch movies, and if they get us that hyped, we're like having conversations as we're walking out. You know?
Yeah.
That's all I'm saying. You know, like. That's what I'm
Before-
doing on purpose. That's just my love, you know, for the films.
Before we wrap it up, Pollo, any last thoughts on the chapter of Alex before we give our final quick reviews and our scores?
No, I mean, like now that you mention it, you got me thinking that Alex still has them under the curse. 'Cause we never saw him put the twigs into the bowl of water.
Yeah,
So
I
I'm
mean,
just thinking,
honestly.
like, damn.
I mean, we
I
saw
think,
him hugging his parents, so obviously the parents' curse broke at some point because they weren't trying to attack him anymore. But we never really saw the kids go back to normal, so it's interesting. It's an interesting little tidbit to kind of bite at. So let's give our quick final reviews and scores. I'll go first. I really did enjoy Weapons, and for that, it's going to get a 5 out of 5 reels from me. If there's a horror suspense movie that you watch this year, I'd say make time for this one. It's definitely a don't miss.
4.5 out of 5 reels. It had so many good things going for it. My nitpicks are my nitpicks. I will say one interesting thing about this movie though. I don't think there's a director's cut. I feel like Zach Cregger was able to do everything he wanted. I mean, I talked about it earlier. $38 million budget. That's so low that I don't even think the studio cared what he did, right? So I don't think there's a director's cut, but I also don't think that this movie can be helped any further by a director's cut anyways. It's already that good, but I'm going 4.5 reels out of 5.
Yeah, so overall, I think I said earlier, I gave it a 4 out of 5 reels. Yeah, I'm excited for Zach Cregger's universe. I think I saw a picture. I'm not sure if it was confirmed or not, but it was like of his future movies. And one of them looked like a Weapons prequel. I forgot the title, but it had something to do with like twigs or like
Ooh.
sticks. So maybe like a prequel for like a Aunt Gladys. We might learn more about her background. But yeah,
Okay,
the movie
okay.
was great. I enjoyed it. It was a good horror movie.
That you say that there's because something else about this, because I thought Weapons was pretty self-contained. I really don't see how this opens itself up to a sequel, and I hope that they don't go for that. But a prequel could be interesting, but I also, not that I hated it, but this was very self-contained. I don't think I needed more. Not in a bad way either, but that's just how pretty tight and wrapped up in a bow all this was, you know? So that
Yeah.
is interesting that the studio's deciding they want more, but they're smart enough to know that a sequel wouldn't work. So it looks like they're aiming for a prequel.
Yeah. Well, I think Jesse did bring up to me that Zach Kreger is making like a cinematic universe with Barbarian and Weapons. So maybe the movies are intertwined.
I mean, Justin Long is
Justin
here
Long
though.
is in both of them.
Yeah,
Playing
no.
a different character. He played a different character. His name was different, I think.
Oh,
I like
okay.
looked at the credit and it was not the same name as
No,
Barbarian.
it's not the same name, but it would
So
be weird that if it is a shared universe and it's like maybe it's Justin Long's twin brother.
yeah.
Up next, we had War of the Worlds 2025. Julio had gotten a chance to watch this and clearly told us to avoid it, but I have an annoying roommate who makes me watch garbage with him, so I forced Boyer to watch it as well, and, well, we're here. War of the Worlds follows Ice Cube, who, for some reason, we as a nation entrusted with our national surveillance with, which was a mistake because he just uses it for personal issues like spying on his pregnant daughter, as he witnesses the world be invaded by aliens and has to navigate his loved one's safety all through Zoom.
Get out of there! I'm coming for you now!
Boys, what the fuck did you think of this train wreck?
All right, hang on. Since we missed our mark, let me welcome you all to Advertisement Culture Club, where we review the best. Man, this movie, if nothing else, is just a giant advertisement for like Amazon and stuff they do. Like, oh, Ice Cube's son-in-law, the heroic Amazon delivery driver. He's such a good person because he works for Amazon. He's a hero. This homeless guy on the street doesn't want to help us with our drone to save the world. But if we offer him an Amazon gift card, all of a sudden he'll spring in. Oh man, like okay. First of all, I like Ice Cube's music, mostly his older stuff, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I like OG War of the Worlds. You would think this was gonna be a good pairing. You would think wrong. Like Ice Cube's been getting a lot of hate this year, right? Some justified, some not. So I'm staying outside of that. But the reason I'm gonna give him hate this year is for this film right here, okay? If you could even call it that, because I called it an advertisement, and so many things wrong with it. Like one thing I will bring up, as someone who's in the IT career field, and not that I work in spying on people like Ice Cube in this movie, but the kind of rooms I work in where they do similar work, there would never be just one employee, okay? Get out of here with that. Get out of here with that. Like I've been in IT monitoring for smaller systems, and we have way more employees than just one employee monitoring it.
The whole country.
I don't even know what this was, man. I know Jesse has this big theory that some movies only exist as money laundering tactics in Hollywood. And if this isn't one of them, then I don't know. I mean, look, man, I'm not gonna exaggerate here. Oh, worst movie of the year. Like all these movies that win worst movie of the year, they're just the worst movie that are good enough to hear about. The worst movies of the year every year are these low budget, straight to streaming, whatever, that you never even heard.
100%.
The real worst movie of the year, no one ever hears of. But
2B movies or Freebie movies.
yeah. So like, so I'm not about to go with all that hyperbole. A worst movie. Now, worst movie of the year is some movie that neither one of us knows exists and would never waste our time watching that came out this year. But I will say, sweeping the Razzies this year is 2025's War of the Worlds. Put money on it, okay? I don't know what website's going to take that bet, but if you guys find it, put money on it, okay?
Yeah. This movie, I think I saw somewhere that it was released. I think I saw somewhere that it was filmed in 2020. why it was released is beyond me, but
Money
yeah,
laundering.
money laundering, yeah. Yeah, this movie it just felt like some college students made it and for their class project. Like the CGI was bad. Ice Cube's acting was bad, but it's Ice Cube, you know, I'm not gonna hate him, you know. I still love him. But yeah, it was just there was like some like lines of his where like it looked like he was reading it with his index finger. Like, in school. That's what
Ice,
it was sounding
Ice
off.
Cube reads out loud. Ice Cube reads. Oh man.
No, but really,
Yeah.
and I've said this to you guys before when we were discussing this lately. I don't think Ice Cube 100% read the script before even filming this movie because, like, Boyo's right. There's certain scenes where you could clearly see that he, whatever screen's in front of him, he has the script open and he's going line for line. And there's certain words that he doesn't know, so he kind of fumbles on them. I'm not sure he even knew what the fuck he was filming. They were just like, hey, we're gonna do it all through Zoom. You know, your homegirl Eva Longoria is gonna be in it. You know, it'll be fine. And it just wasn't. This movie was just it like Julio said, the worst movie of the year you will not hear about. You know, it'll be some small, low budget film that, like Boyo said, maybe some kids fucking made. But this is getting global attention because it was, you know, presented on Amazon. It had
People hear about it, you know.
It had people like Ice Cube, like Eva Longoria. It had names, a big enough names attached to it for you to at least hear, like, hey, Ice Cube's got a new movie out.
The title War of the Worlds is enough.
Yeah, the title,
Because the old
brings-
movie and
yeah.
I think it was originally a book.
No, it started as a book.
Yeah.
A book is the genesis of what War of the Worlds is. Then there was like the radio hoax, then the first movie, then the Tom Cruise and
There's a few adaptations of this.
yeah, that's what I'm saying.
and
Look,
Boyo
look.
said there was one in like 2019, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Look, H.G. Wells is turning in his
Ooh.
grave. Okay, so that's all I'm gonna say. Okay, I'm gonna leave it at that. You know, I don't. Look. If H.G. Wells still has any descendants left, right? They better be like, I don't know if you can sue for I don't know, slander. Definitely what they've done to this War of the Worlds, man. Carry on, man. I can't. I can't.
It shouldn't even have that title. Nothing was the same about the original. Like besides the premise, I guess.
It should be called Package Awards, really.
Back to
No, but yeah, like back to my point. It was a bad movie. You know, it wasn't great. But to say it was the worst movie I watched all year, it probably won't be. There's probably going to be some other movie that was a lot worse that'll take that spot. But yeah, this movie wasn't great. And it sucks because, like Julio said, I also enjoy Ice Cube. You know, I enjoy Ice Cube's music, and I would even say his acting. You know, are we there yet? You know, there's a couple movies out there that I enjoy with him in it, but
he's been good in movies.
Yeah, he's been solid. But this movie, if Boyo is correct, and this was filmed in like 2020, which was like probably in the middle of the pandemic, that makes sense.
COVID,
and if you release this during the pandemic, that would make sense. But at this point in time, when we're back outside, where we haven't had to deal with a situation like this, it just doesn't make any sense. You know, it doesn't make any sense to present this movie in this way. And sure, you can say they're kind of capitalizing on the whole alien fear right now, but at the same time, we didn't really focus so much on the aliens. And the reason that they were here to steal like all our data because that's how they fucking feed or whatever, that was kind of stupid too. Like I don't know who was in charge of this fucking movie, but they did a absolutely atrocious job at getting across what War of the Worlds really meant to us way back in the day when, you know, we had our original films or even the book. This was just a huge fumble part of shit. I would have to say Amazon.
I feel like every actor only took this movie because there was nothing to do while they were sitting at home during quarantine.
100%.
Amazon probably paid good.
Did they pay good? You think so?
I think Jeff Bezos was generous.
Jeff Bezos is not even aware they were making this movie, man.
Jeff Bezos was fucking in space.
Look, man. I'm not even a Jeff Bezos like apologist or fan or anything, but I feel like if Jeff Bezos was aware this is going on, he'd have put a stop to this. Okay.
I would like Ice Cube's name, and he put more money in. He said, "Give Ice Cube everything he wants."
I will say, Ice Cube did have some pretty memorable meme moments in this movie. There was a lot of still images of his facial expressions through this. We got the infamous "It was you," when it got
It was-
finally revealed that his
Oh,
son
his
was
son
the
is,
hacker, the leader of like
what was
this
the? I don't
hacking
even remember
ring.
the hacker name. It was something funny like that.
Oh,
Right, I found it funny. You know what I wish Ice Cube would have acted more like in this movie, or because I don't know what his character's supposed to be, but if he acted more like the police captain he was in the Jump Street movies,
If Patricia Dean on the supply.
yeah, I know what you're thinking. Angry black captain. That's right. I am angry. I am black. I worked my ass off to be like. I feel like maybe that's the kind of character you should have leaned in more here, right? Such like
Yeah.
just in front of a webcam and being able to just monologue away without interruption.
Yeah.
Like I don't know what he was supposed to be, but I could have used a lot more of his police chief from the Jump Street movies in this. I feel like that would have. I don't think it would have saved the movie, but I would have had a better time.
The whole movie was just him looking at his computer, and you could tell that the computer was green screen because the reflection. He's wearing glasses the whole time, and you could see the green screen on his glasses.
Boyo with the continuity error. I did not even care enough to notice, man. But like, I'm sure
Whereas,
you're
like,
right.
I saw
though.
that
You're
shit.
right.
I was like, "What is that?"
Exactly. No. I don't have a thumb drive. How? Right here. Move, bitch! Get out the way! These things are everywhere!
What is he looking at?
This movie was a fucking disaster, but let's go ahead and give our final scores for this. I'm just gonna give it 2 reels. I'm gonna give it the decency that even with the fact that it was a horrible movie, it still had some pretty big names in it, like Ice Cube, like Eva Longoria. The
Mhm.
Amazon driver kid, I've seen him in a couple things. I can't think of
Roderick.
his name.
Yes.
But
Diary of the Kid.
yes, he's also really good. So it gets to 2 points out of like at least trying to do something with it. The execution just wasn't there for me
1.5 reels.
though.
We genuinely have a beginning, middle, and end. I'm not sure we have an act 1, act 2, act 3, but we have a cohesive, beginning, middle, end, comedic moments, whether purposefully or not. And the movie even tried to give you plot twists. His son was the hacker, and then Ice Cube changes his mind. But I can't go any higher than that, man. Giving this movie higher reels would endorse what they're doing, and filmmakers need to know we are not for that. We will not support this. Try putting stuff out like that at your own risk. Luckily, this was on Prime, which everyone already has. But try to put something like that out at your own risk, where you're putting it in theaters for people to give money. And I promise you, this person right here, me, I'm not supporting.
Yeah, I think 2 reels. I think I'll give it 2 reels for me. 1 for Ice Cube and 1 for effort. I don't even know if I could give them I don't even know if I could give them 1 for effort.
Get an A for effort. Okay.
Said 1 for effort. All right.
I mean, okay, yeah, I see where he's coming from, because outside of everyone we're clowning, there are some people who needed the paycheck, cinematographers, right?
Mm-hmm.
The behind the scenes people, camera people, all that stuff.
Editors.
So good on them. Good on them. I'm glad they're making their money, but if I'm them, I'm not putting this one on the resume. Okay.
Up next, we got a segment we like to call Show Me a Good Time. Show Me a Good Time is the part of the show where the club discusses TV shows they've been recently into, whether they be new or old. This week, we will be discussing 2 shows, that being the new season of King of the Hill and Peacemaker. Let's kick it off with King of the Hill. King of the Hill recently returned after 15 years, and I gotta say, I was a little worried. I wasn't sure that I was able to keep up, if the take on recent times was going to be too dated. But I was shockingly surprised that I had nothing to worry about. With the exceptions of a few voice changes, the show, at least for me, was a hit. It tackled modern issues with ease and even showcased a Hank that still holds on to older values, but is willing to learn and, if not accept, at least respect the ever-changing world. I want to get y'all thoughts on it. I watched parts of it with both of y'all. I actually watched the entirety with Boyo, and I watched the first couple episodes with you, Julio. Did y'all enjoy The Hills Return to the Spotlight, or was this just not it for you?
I thought it was great. I thought this is how you do a reboot, which is what this is. This is a reboot. It's not a remake because they're not starting over. They're picking up from a future point in the story. And I think this is the most successful reboot we've had, in the past 5 years, if not decade, essentially.
Mhm.
I did watch part of the season with you on a stream, and what it made me do, it made me want to go back and watch the old seasons. So I went ahead and started my own watch again, and I've been laughing it up, man. I cannot believe that I forgot how funny the Dale and Boomhauer characters are specifically. Those two are my favorite characters, Dale and Boomhauer. I recently rewatched what I think to be the Pantheon episode of King of the Hill. And for me, it happens in season 3, the one where they're the volunteer firefighters. Just
Oh, yeah.
so funny. I don't know if you remember that one, that they
Mhm.
like burned down the fire station or whatever.
Yeah, I remember that.
No, that episode to me is the Pantheon King of the Hill episode. There's so much funny stuff. I'll just bring up one quick line from it. They're at the funeral and they drop the guy in the grave and they pants him, and then they're being investigated after,
Mm-hmm.
and they're like, "Oh, just tell us where you want us, Chief." It's like back in the grave with Chet when you fell in. Like it's just the fact that this gold used to be normal lines, right?
Mm-hmm.
It just lets you know how far so much modern writing has fallen off. But no, yeah. So I'm gonna go back and finish the second half of that of the new season of King of the Hill once I run through all the old seasons, because it was that good that it made me want to run it back before finishing the season. But so far, I've liked what I've seen. Hank is still that character. Bobby is the new full focal point, and I'm here for it.
Yeah, it was good. Like Julio said, it did like not a reboot. What's it
No,
called?
it is a reboot. It's
Oh,
not a
reboot,
remake.
yeah.
It is a
And then a
reboot.
remake. Yeah, it did a reboot good. Peggy and Hank were away in like Saudi Arabia, so it's kind of like they've been away too, like with us, you know. And it's like if they're coming back to Ireland for the first time, and that was like a nice little touch too. And yeah, like you said, I think you said Bobby's the main focal point now. I like it. I do like that direction they're going with Bobby. How he's like a chef now, kind of in the same field as his dad. But yeah,
Actually,
it's
hold
good.
on. Don't they have the scene where his dad is mad that he has the charcoal grill at
The
the restaurant?
charcoal. Yeah. That's one of the things they could beef about now.
But that's one of the
How to
moments,
cook.
like I brought up earlier, is while Hank is still stuck in his ways, right? He still would like Bobby to use propane. Once he sees the difference that the charcoal from Japan or whatever that Bobby's bringing, once that charcoal makes it and it hits that food, it tastes completely different. And while Hank isn't 100% with the switch, he can respect what's going on. And that episode alone, the episode with Bobby finally bringing Hank to the restaurant was an episode that I even told Boyo when we finished watching it. That episode almost made me cry because you got to see finally this bond between Hank and Bobby that you've been wanting to see for years now. Ever since the original show, you wanted to see him finally acknowledge him for some of his successes, and you finally get to see that in the scene. So I really loved, like I said, I loved how it tackled all these modern issues, because it did tackle modern issues in its own way. Just the whole move from Texas, Arlington, Texas to Saudi Arabia, like Boyo brought up. Having Hank, while he's over there, learn to enjoy soccer, something that he vilified while he was in Texas. He's learning. He's learning to grow, and that's something that I really love this season.
There's an episode where Bobby quits the football team to go to soccer team.
Yeah.
In the early season. So that was a big moment too. That one that he comes to appreciate soccer.
Yeah. So like I said, like there was a lot of these moments within the season. They're topics that are more prevalent and day and age now that some shows would typically, kind of like shy away from going there, and King of Hill took not only their original charm and take on those topics, but I think they did them extremely well. Last up on Show Me a Good Time, we got Peacemaker. The GOAT John Cena reprises his iconic role as Peacemaker in season 2. But before we get there, I want to get y'all's general thoughts on season 1. I personally loved season 1. It wasn't at all what I expected from a Cena hero role, but I was pleasantly surprised that I could watch this and not just see the Unseen 17. Raunchy, funny, unapologetic, all of it blended well to bring us an unforgettable season 1. But what did y'all think? Were y'all rocking with Peacemaker season 1, or was it just not your vibe?
I loved Peacemaker season 1, okay? Loved it. First of all, so out of left field, right? But in a good way. Soundtrack was amazing.
Yes.
All the way through. And it looks like season 2 is also gonna have a great soundtrack. I will say I like the song for the opening credits in season 1 better than season 2. The season 2 song is still a good song as well. But the season 1 song is just it's so hype, it gets you going. The BPMs are up, whereas the season 2 song is a little slower. But it is a good song. Don't get me wrong, I do like it. Not saying it's a bad song. Just saying I like season 1 song better.
Before we carry on, I do have a question for both of you, and you can answer at your own time. But between intro season 1 and intro season 2, which one is y'all's favorites?
Season 1 still.
Season 1 still? Okay, Boyo?
Season 1 still.
Maybe it's been a while since I've seen season 1, but I like the season 2 one. I like the song.
Season 2?
I like it better, I think.
Nice.
I might have to rewatch this first one, but I really like the second one.
I think I gotta side with Julio. I think I like the first one a little bit more, but I do like the changes that they made into the second one, adding more people, adding more dance steps to Eagly. I did enjoy it.
And adding their doubles too, because like the alternate universe doubles are also dancing.
Yeah, you have Vigilante in the suit, and like him, the character.
Yeah.
Too.
No, yeah, it's still good, but I just happen to like the season 1 song better because I like the faster paced songs better. Obviously, right?
They're both good songs.
But so far in the episodes, like the stuff they're using for soundtracks in the episodes, that's all fire as well.
Yeah.
Like I'm be getting Peacemaker soundtrack when it comes out.
Yeah, like I feel like this season 2 like intro is really like it really set the mood for the season. He's really like depressed right now. He wants to kind of escape. That's why you kind of see where he's going through in the season. You see like what path the season is going to. Like he's gonna like get away from his world and go to a different universe that's better. But yeah, he's just a little bit depressed right now, and you can kind of hear it in the intro. A little bit slower.
All right, just wanted to get your thoughts on that real quick. Julio, go ahead and finish up your thoughts on season 1.
Okay, no, just season 1 was great. And as far as like, do I think season 1 was self-contained enough that if they never made the season 2, I'd be fine? Yes, I do. But if you only like would see season 1 and we never got anything else, I'd be fine. So I'm definitely glad we got a season 2. And I'm especially with one of the things we'll bring up. I know Boyo has mentioned in the past, like how we're going from Snyder to Gunn. If Snyder's Justice League was in that last episode of Peacemaker, remember season 1 Peacemaker? They're in that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And they handled that really quick. By the way, we're about to get into it. But season 1 was thumbs up, right?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what our TV rating system is, but
we could do reels.
Reels. Season 1, 4.75 reels out of 5. Right.
5. Okay.
And we'll see where season 2 takes us, but that's just on keep it season 1 for now. We're about to move into season 2.
Before Boyo gives his review on it, I just want to say quickly just my score on it. I think I would also give it like a 4.7. I'd probably give it like a 4.8. There's a couple things that I would have changed throughout season 1, but nothing like very major, just little nitpicks here and there. But overall, I did really enjoy it. So go ahead, Boyo, give us your review on season 1.
I'll probably give it a 4.5 reels out of 5. I really loved it. I remember when I first saw Suicide Squad, I loved it. When they announced that Peacemaker was getting his own show, I was all on board, and it did not disappoint at all. Yeah, so yeah, 4.5 for me for season 1 of Peacemaker.
And as for season 2, we won't go too deep in it for the people that haven't caught up. But how have y'all been liking the new season? Julio brought it up a little bit earlier. James Gunn did a phenomenal retconning of the ending scene of Peacemaker season 1, where we originally got the Snyderverse Justice League showing up to kind of, help Peacemaker, even though it was too late. But at the opening of season 2, I think it's even within the
Not even in the part of the episode. It's
Yeah,
it's
it's
part
just
of the
the recap.
recap. Swift,
we
good and swift retconning, by the way. Just
Yeah.
James Gunn completely switched out all the characters. We got Cornsweat Superman. We have Fillion's Lantern. We have Kara, or Supergirl. We have them all, even Hawkgirl and Mr. Terrific. We have them all standing there instead of the original members, which were fucking Flash,
Aquaman,
Aquaman, Superman, and I think
and
that was
Wonder
it.
Woman.
And Wonder Woman.
No, I think Wonder Woman's silhouette was there too.
We also got a small little banter between Nathan Fillion's Green Lantern and Hawkgirl to replace the banter between Flash and Aquaman from before. I thought this was amazing. I've told you guys multiple times that I clearly enjoyed this retconning because it was one of the main focal points that we brought up when we were talking about it during the review on Superman, was that at the end of Peacemaker there is that show up of the Justice League, and that was going to lead nowhere. But in phenomenal fashion, James Gunn completely just erased all of Snyder's universe and made it his own. So I really enjoyed that scene. I want to get your thoughts on that scene as well, because it was one of the major points that we had a problem with last time we got together.
I find it so funny that the retcon isn't even part of the actual episode. It's part of the recap. That is all the Snyderverse deserves. Okay, the Snyderverse deserves nothing more. Okay, it's so swift. And by the way, can we give a nod to? I'm glad that James Gunn at least is trying to listen to fans, because we love John Cena as Peacemaker so much. This is not the first retcon. Peacemaker dies at the end of his Suicide Squad movie. Peacemaker season 1 is kicked off on a retcon already, right? We love Peacemaker so much, we are tolerating multiple retcons just so that we can continue having Peacemaker. Okay? So someone out there is listening to fans, okay? And yes, at least as fans, I'm not about to ding them so hard on the retcons, because otherwise we wouldn't be able to continue having Peacemaker, right? So far in season 2, Adebayo is still Amanda Waller's daughter. So they haven't completely cut everything from Snyderverse yet. Now, I will say they haven't shown Amanda Waller yet. So there's still a tie to the old Snyderverse, right? Adebayo is her daughter, like the character, right? So we're not fully away from that.
Well, I would say that there are certain aspects of the old universe that James Gunn is keeping, and Waller clearly seems to be one of them, just because she is also very prevalent in Creature Commandos, which is one of the shows that is animated but also translates into the DCU. Like the events that happen in the DCU also happen in Creature Commandos and vice versa, So I would imagine that Waller is one of those characters that James is just going to keep.
Oh, so she's staying too. Okay. But yes. But quick shout out to how we love Peacemaker so much that we have already tolerated multiple retcons just to continue having it.
100%.
Right? And so far so good on season 2. It's starting a little slower than season 1, but I think that's on purpose, because these are now established characters, so we don't have to just start with a bang like in season 1. But it's still good. Big shout out, Roy from The Office is in the alternate universe, so big shout out to that. I was hyped to see him. I was telling my wife, I go, babe, that's Roy. Roy is jacked. Hang on, man. Pam made a mistake. I always knew Pam was wrong, and never liked Pam in The Office, but that's a whole other tangent for another time. Season 2 is going well. The retcon of so much from season of like Justice League season 1. We got and then Guy Gardner and
Hot girl.
Hawk Girl making appearance. Oh, and Alexander Lord. He came out in Superman for like 30 seconds, I want to say. Like he was on the news getting into his car, right?
Mhm.
And he was like he threw a shot at Lex Luthor. So that's him. So like so he's here and he got a little more screen time in this, right? He's
he's
so
like
we're-
recruiting the
yeah
members
for
to his Justice
the
Gang.
Justice Gang. Yeah.
He's like the guy that funds the Justice Gang.
Yeah, that's his money, the Hall of Justice and all
Yeah.
that, and so and
Played by
that was a
Sean Gunn.
that was a funny exchange where they set up the audio wrong, so then when they think they're having private conversation,
Yeah,
they're
that was
not.
funny.
They're not.
He could hear everything. Peacemaker
Yeah.
could hear everything. There was
He's
just
like, am I-
digs to him.
Am I supposed to be able to hear you guys?
How
My
many times
favorite-
did that girl hear me talk about her cat with the
Oh yeah.
the White Rabbit?
No, my
That's the
favorite.
Batman villain. I don't know if you guys know about her, but she comes
Oh,
out in the
okay.
Batman comics. Her name is the White Rabbit.
Yeah, I did
Oh yeah,
see that.
she's
Yeah.
Batman has a lot of like Alice in Wonderland characters as his villains. So I
Yeah.
figured she was one of them.
No, my favorite line between that whole interview was, "You got any special skills besides blowing dudes?" I was like, "Yes, more of this, please." That whole scene was great, though. I really did love that we came from, and I would imagine that that's why James Gunn was so pressed about getting Superman out on VOD. Was he said he wanted enough people to watch that movie so that they could understand Peacemaker. And honestly, right off the bat, you kind of need to, right? Because these characters come in strong. They're there, like you guys said, they're interviewing new heroes to see who can join the Justice Gang. And we do get that funny moment where, like you guys brought up, Guy Gardner, he doesn't connect the mics up right, and every time he thinks that they're muting the mic, actually nothing's happening. So everyone's hearing everything that they're saying. So that was great. I really did enjoy them telling us like, hey, listen, this movie just happened. The universe is set. We're starting to bring everyone in slowly, and we've seen that really big recently with people like Guy Gardner, Hawk Girl, and then James Gunn's brother, his character showing up during the scene. But you also see it later on with Rick Flag Sr., who was also in Creature Commandos, who was also in Suicide Squad. All these people, coming into this universe finally to make this cohesive world that we're going to be living in for the next couple of years. And we even got later on, not too big of a spoiler, we got in episode 2, we got a mention of Gotham for the first time. And we know, at least we're being told, that the Gotham that pertains within this universe is not the Patterson Batman universe. So it'll be interesting to see, how soon we'll get to see either a glimpse of Gotham or maybe even people from Gotham coming over into Chris's realm of the woods,
Not just Gotham, but Bloodhaven got a mention as well.
Yeah,
and
Bloodhaven
to me,
as well.
But see, and that's to me that showed me it was different, because in the Reeves verse, Catwoman clearly calls it Bloodhaven, so they're not even pronouncing it the same to tell you.
Yeah, that it's
this is not the same universe, unfortunately. Like, don't get your hopes up. Matt Reeves is doing really well, by the way, with his, Batman and the Penguin. So he's doing really well. Doesn't need to be in this if he doesn't want to, which I don't think he does. But yeah, it over there it's Bloodhaven, and here it was Bloodhaven. So yeah, we're getting a different resident hero in Gotham. It might not even be Batman. Hell, he might even decide to go with
Nightwing.
Nightwing or Tim Drake.
He resides in Bloodhaven.
Bloodhaven. Okay, no, but he might go with someone else in Gotham though. It might not be Batman. Who knows? Who knows? But quick shout out to the part that made my wife damn near spit out her drink, like legitimately. Harcourt being diagnosed with toxic masculinity. I swear she almost choked on her LaCroix, okay? She almost choked on her LaCroix when that happened. And that was wild, man. That James Gunn's wild for that one, okay? It's not all good though. It's not all good. Minor nitpick. I do think that Frank Grillo is too young to have been Rick Flag's dad.
Yeah.
True.
Rick Flag was a colonel when Peacemaker killed him in Suicide Squad. And if you know anything about the military, you know how long it takes to make colonel. Not only how long it takes to make colonel, but then to have been a colonel long enough to have like the legendary status and record that he had as a colonel already, right?
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I do think Frank Grillo's a little too young to have been Rick Flag's dad, but we're gonna overlook it because
And
that's how much
Well,
I'm enjoying
he comes out
Peacemaker.
in Creature Commandos and he has white hair.
Yeah, I was
But I
about to
saw
bring
James
that up.
Gunn
Yeah.
said that
Oh
he
yeah,
couldn't
yeah.
dye his hair because he was doing like another movie. That's like the
Yeah,
only
okay.
reason, but yeah.
Should have went for the wig, man. I mean, Nathan
I know,
Fillion
right?
went
A
for the
wig
Guy
or
Gardner. I mean,
just
same
fix it in
Guy Gardner.
post.
Yeah, fix it in post. Nah. Then you get Henry Cavill's mustache that he couldn't shave for the what reshoots was that again?
I
Like
want to say it was for Mission
Those
Impossible.
Mission Impossible.
no, Mission Impossible was the movie he was doing why he
Yeah,
couldn't
it was
shave
a
the mustache.
Justice League.
But what were
It was
they
the
reshooting in
Justice
least
League.
the? Okay, yeah.
Could
It
it
was
have
Okay,
Justice
been?
League.
Was it Justice League or could it have been Witcher?
It was Justice League for sure.
No,
'Cause
but
it
it
was
was
a Superman
Mission
scene.
Impossible. No, Mission Impossible was the movie he was doing why he
Yeah,
couldn't
Dead
shave.
Reckoning or some shit.
Yeah, no, Fallout. He wasn't in Dead
Fallout,
Reckoning.
yeah,
He
yeah,
was in
yeah.
Fallout.
That is a big thing though, like Boyer brought up, that a lot of people have noticed that in Creature Commandos he has the full white hair, you know. A lot of people call him Buff James Gunn, you know, because it just really does look like a Buff James Gunn. So I get what you mean, you know, like Frank Grillo does look a little too young to be, you know, Rick Flag's a father, but I guess maybe if it is a role that's impeding him to change his hair, maybe the process that he goes through in Peacemaker finally gets him to get through to get his gray hair. You know, all the stress that they're about to put him in might get him that gray hair, and maybe he's done with that prior commitment that he had before. But overall, yeah, I mean, I've been having a lot of fun with the season. You know, we touched on it lightly, and we won't get too deep into it, but we are exploring a multiverse here. I don't know if that's just James Gunn, you know, wanting to write a little bit of that Marvel multiverse that he didn't really get to have while he was at Marvel, but it seems like we're going to be seeing, you know, Chris go into another universe where ultimately he's going to be taking over the role of Peacemaker and seeing what it is like to live as a different Peacemaker, you know, not the shitty rundown Peacemaker that we have in our universe. So I'm excited. A lot of people, I mean, this whole thing is certified fresh right now. The whole season is certified fresh on Rotten Tomatoes. People that have gotten to watch this early haven't been able to stop talking about it. So I'm very excited to see how this continues. Any final thoughts before we end end the segment on Peacemaker season 2?
Peacemaker was great.
So far, so good. Let's see where season 2 takes us, though. You know, not that I think they're gonna drop the ball, but you know, it's 2 good episodes so far. And what I'm hoping doesn't happen is I'm hoping it doesn't end on some cliffhanger to then cause a season 3. Like it should wrap up and a season 3 should happen on its own merits, but we'll see.
And I feel like it might, just because it kind of seems like a lot of these shows, like I said, are intertwined with the actual universe. You know, they're entwined with that movie/TV timeline. So I don't know if we'll actually get like a cliffhanger end to the season, more as like we're gonna leave it in a place where we can pick it up after, you know, maybe the next big movie or something like that. But I do agree. I do think that we shouldn't be leaving these shows off in a cliffhanger. I feel like we can end these shows properly, just in case we don't get to revisit them again, and just go on from there. You know, we did it pretty well when we were doing something similar down at Marvel, you know, when the MCU timeline was crossing over with Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. So I see no problem of why James Gunn can't figure out on how to do that within the DCU. Last up, I got a quick segment we like to call Hear Me Out. Hear Me Out is a quick rapid fire review segment where the club rates an album that's recently released. This week, I, King Jess, want y'all to hear me out. Hear me out, boys. Hear me out. I got a chance to listen to Sabrina Carpenter's Man's Best Friend, and let me tell you, that shit's a banger. I'm going to give it 5 out of 5 reels and tell you to go hear it out. That, though, this week's show comes to an end. Any last words before we send it off, boys?
Just if you're considering watching the new War of the Worlds, just go back and read the book, man. Just go back and read the original book. You'll have a better time.
Yeah, you for sure definitely have a better time watching Weapons. You should do yourself a favor and do that.
I'm here for it. Oh, also one more thing, and the reason I bring it up because I'm I'm sure we'll have more episodes throughout, but this is the end of August, and I'm declaring spooky season officially starting as
Hell
soon as we
yeah.
get past the Labor Day.
Yeah.
So look out for some stuff that hasn't been announced. But that's just because I'm still making a decision. But spooky season is almost in full effect, people.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, all hail Zach Krager, our new horror overlord. Seriously though, Resident Evil coming soon, I think. So we're definitely going to be keeping up with that and going to try to be giving updates as we go along, because I personally, the last time I was hyped for a Resident Evil movie was the very first one. And after that disappointment, I wasn't really hyped for any of the rest of them. I saw them all, but yeah, so I'm actually hyped for a Resident Evil movie again.
Oh yeah.
So I hope not to be let down.
I mean, I know we say this all the time, but there are some animated movies out there that are pretty good. You know, like Netflix released a couple Resident Evil anime movies that I definitely implore people to go watch, especially
I did
during
like
the
those.
spooky season, because they are really good. But yeah, the live action ones, just they weren't it.
But yeah, definitely looking forward to spending time with all of you during spooky season, because as far as me personally, that is my time to shine.
And if you guys are going to be in the California area during Hollywood Horror Nights, me and Boyo from the CCC will be at Hollywood Horror Nights on October 4th. So if you catch us there, come and say hi. Thank you again for listening this week. We hope y'all are enjoying the episodes. Drop a like or a comment, maybe even a subscribe if you do. Until next time, I've been King Jess. He's Hoodie Julio. That's my dog Boyo. And just to be clear, it's you!